Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Test, where we talk about entertainment, life, and drug testing. Now here's your host, Elvis's #1 fan and cruise ship karaoke legend, past chairman and Hall of Fame inductee of the National Drug and Alcohol Screening Association, president of Accredited Drug Testing, Secure Screenings, and the Accredited Training Academy, Jim Greer.
Well, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Test. I'm your host, Jim Greer. This is where we're going to talk about entertainment, we're going to talk about life, and of course we're going to talk about drug testing. I'm so pleased today to have our guest, and it's Valerie Lofton. And Valerie is the owner, president, on-site testing manager of Intra Testing Solutions in Texas. And it's Houston, Texas, isn't it?
Houston, Texas. That's right.
So, yeehaw. Woo! We're going to have a lot of fun today. So, Valerie, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So glad. How was the flight out here? Good?
The flight was
Good?
amazing.
Good?
Thank you so much for having me
Good.
today.
So do you ride any horses or have any cattle out there in Texas, or is that just on TV?
That's just on TV.
That's on TV. Okay. Well, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
And we're gonna talk about a lot of fun stuff, but we're also going to talk about some serious stuff. So I do have two questions that I get to ask you at the end that has nothing to do with drug testing. So hopefully you're going to know what those questions are.
Okay.
But first of all, you know, I always talk about wanting to learn about our guests. I want to know about your background. I want to know how you got into drug testing, but I also want to know about Valerie, who you are, what's important to you in life, any challenges you've had, any challenges in your family you've had, anything you want to talk about, because, you know, the theme of this song is entertainment, and we already had a little entertainment.
Yes, we did.
And life, and then we'll get to drug testing. So, Valerie, tell me about you and tell me about your company.
Absolutely. So, as you know, I am the co-chair, founder of Intra Testing Solutions, and I started about 15 years ago when this was just all just a thought. I walked into a physical location to get a drug test, pre-employment drug test.
You were going to take the drug test.
I was going to take the drug test. And so it just struck my interest, and I was like, what's this all about? And sure enough, it led me down the rabbit hole. I had started taking some necessary training right there in Houston, Texas. And then during my training, I came across my mentor. And she's amazing. She's still prominent in the industry today. And that's how I've come to meet you, as well as also more amazing individuals in the industry. So I started taking the training, then I started diving deep into the regulations, attended the conferences at that time.
The INDASA conferences.
The INDASA conferences, absolutely. And then my mind just opened up to so much more. I never imagined that I would now work nationwide, handling drug tests for a lot of Fortune 500 companies.
Now, when you went to take the drug test, were you taking it for a potential employer?
Absolutely.
You were?
For a non-emergency medical transportation company.
So you got the idea, you asked what was drug testing when you were there.
Of course.
And then you started your own company.
Absolutely. I started, I stopped. My background is finance.
Oh, really?
Yes. My background is finance. Accounts receivable. I handled that for many years.
Every employer needs a good accounts receivable person. You know that? And they're not out there a lot. You got to find the right person.
You have to find the right person, especially when you're responsible for millions and millions of dollars on the books and also collecting millions of dollars. So as money goes out, you have to have a responsible person to make sure that money is coming back in.
Well, you know, my wife, as a side note, when we were dating, she has a degree in finance, and she was the accounts receivable supervisor for a big company when we first met. And she worked in my previous company for a couple years, and she was our accounts receivable person. So now being married to her, I know why she was so successful. Because she was a go-getter, and she didn't put up with much.
Absolutely.
And that transcended into our marriage. So it all worked out.
Listen, it all made a good match,
That's right?
Listen, one, a leader, and two, someone that can control those finances.
That's
it
her.
just works out.
That's her. So, but she's good now because I bring it in and she lets it go out. So it's a little different. But so you went there for a drug test for another employer, and you kind of asked, what was all this?
I did. I started asking questions, and then they said, hey, you can sign up for my training. But I didn't get the necessary training that when I left there, I felt slightly empty. So that led me to dive deeper into finding INDASA, also getting involved with the National Drug and Alcohol Screening Association. And it was in that moment when I knew I had to attain more training. And that's what I did.
And when was this? How long ago was this?
15, 14 years ago.
Really?
It's quite some time.
Yeah.
Quite some time. I was a baby. And I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
So I took the necessary urine collector training.
Right.
And breath alcohol training. That wasn't on my mind.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, wait, okay, I'll do that later. But I can definitely get started in drug testing. And so when I saw I was going nowhere fast, and I started attending some of the informational sessions and the educational sessions that INDASA had, I discovered, oh no, I'm missing a piece. And that's the breath alcohol technician training.
Well, you know, there's a lot of collectors that are not breath alcohol technician
Absolutely.
trained. Because like you say, they don't think about it. And if you're going to do DOT collections, you ought to do DOT breath alcohol too.
It goes
hand in hand. But they also, it's a little more complicated. The breath alcohol has some components to it that urine doesn't have, and you got to have a machine and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So is that right about the time you started your company?
Yes, absolutely. Right about that time, I just said, you know what? I'm going to start something. And I talked to my father about it. And I was currently going to University of Houston, downtown, go Gators.
Right.
And I said, Dad, I'm going to go ahead and drop out of college. And he said, what? For what? Because he studied computer science at University of Houston as well. So he wanted me to carry on the legacy.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'm going to drop out of college. And he said, are you stupid? And I said, oh God, I'm going to do this. Trust me, it's going to work.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to start a company, and it's going to be called Intra Testing. And he said, Intra Testing, what does all of that entail? So long story short, I told him, I'm going to be a professional specimen collector. And I said, can you please sponsor my trip to the conference?
Oh, your dad
and he
did?
did? Yes. And I went to the conference, and the rest was history. I just started diving deeper into all of the educational classes that INDASA offers. And I just continued to network, continue to go out and talk with different company representatives in Houston. Houston is a hub for networking events.
Is it really? Wow.
I will say that.
Right.
And so the more I started talking to people, I started getting comfortable with what it is that I embarked on as far as drug and alcohol testing. So about 2 years into holding my certificate as a professional specimen collector, I then took the training for breath alcohol technician.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yes. And
well, you know, you mentioned, Valerie, that you went to your dad. I have almost the exact same story. To go off track just a little bit, I ended up working when I was young, 21 years old. I got a job in the legal department of a national chain, and I was 21, 22 years old, and I got a good job. I was making like $30,000 a year, and I had a company car. And back in 1984, you know, Lincoln had just been elected president.
Right.
No, it was a long time ago. But I ended up getting this good job, and I thought I had a career path that I wanted to be on in that area.
Okay.
And but then I decided one day that I actually got yelled at by my boss. So for those of you in the audience that have gotten yelled at by your boss, and you think I'm going to start my own business, or tell him off, one of the two.
One of the two.
I decided to go tell my mom and dad one day that I was going to start my own business. And I remember it was June 18th, 1984. And I met my mom and dad at Popeyes, the chicken restaurant.
Chicken.
Love
Yes.
that chicken.
Love that chicken.
And I said to my mom and dad, I said, I'm going to quit. I've been yelled at the 10th time for something that's not my fault. And my mom said, don't you dare. She said, you have a company car, you're 21 years old, and you're making $28,500 a year, whatever it was.
Right.
And she said, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And my dad sat there and he said, if you want to quit, son, go ahead and quit. And I'll support you in any way I can. And the last part of that funny story was my mom's mom, my grandmother. she lived down here, and she was quite wealthy. But she did not like to give up any of that wealth. She was a little stingy.
Yeah.
And some of you all might have someone in the family like that too. But I went, and my dad and mom helped me. But one time I couldn't meet payroll shortly after I started the company. So I thought, well, this is probably going to be the end of this gig.
Like, oh, it's over.
It's over. Yeah. So my mom said, well, go ask your grandmother.
Okay.
And she's probably going to say no. And go ask her if she'll loan you money to meet payroll. And everyone in the family was like, this is not going to happen. Grandma is not going to give you a dime. I mean, it's kind of funny because if you went over to Grandma's house and you ate more Pringles than she put on the plate, you heard about it from her.
You heard about it,
so
absolutely.
this is how the woman was. But I ended up going to the house one day, and I said, Grandma, and she came out in the kitchen, and she made me a ham sandwich. I never will forget. You remember things.
Yes.
And she made me a ham sandwich, and I said, Grandma, I started this company about 3 or 4 months ago, and I think it has potential. I've got 1 or 2 clients, and probably didn't have any, but I told her we had 1 or 2. But I said, I need to borrow, I think it was $5,000, which is a lot of money. Yeah. 1984, today, doesn't matter.
Lot. Right.
And she said, okay. And she wrote me a check. So she wrote me a check.
That's it.
She wrote me a check, gave me a check for $5,000. I went down the street to my mom and dad, and I said, Grandma gave me the $5,000. And my mother said, she did not. She said she wouldn't give me a dime, and she gave you $5,000? I said, yeah. So that's my little story, going to my dad, going to my mom, similar to what yours. And who told you were stupid doing it?
My dad.
Your dad. Well, it was reversed. My mom told me I was stupid, and my dad said do it. So anyways.
And then the love of your grandmother. And she believed. She's like, okay.
But Lisa always says it's a God wink. Yes. That's a term my wife uses a lot, and that was a God wink for my grandmother.
Absolutely.
And to this day, I cannot believe my grandmother gave me that money, because I'm not joking. Yes. You'd go over to the house, and if you had more than 4 potato chips, she counted them in the Pringles can, and she'd say, "Who's been eating my Pringles?"
Yes.
But anyways,
my grandmother was like that.
Was she like that?
Yes.
So you went out and started it.
I went out and started, and sure enough, my grandmother, she didn't know about it.
She did?
No. She started seeing me on social media, traveling, here and there, and everyone, my grandmother has a social media, right? So she's like, "You're gone again? What's going on here? Like what?" I didn't want to tell her until she actually saw the results.
I see. That's good.
So I just kept going, and I would say, "Oh, Granny, I'm going out of town. Grandma, I'm going out of town. Grandmother, I'm going out of town." And lo and behold, one day I told her, I said, "Granny, I've been doing drug and alcohol testing, and I have clients across the United States that they specifically request me for the services, and I go out. They've tried other smaller companies in their city here and there.
Probably didn't get good customer service.
Did not get good customer service. And that's the key. Good customer service will sustain you this business. It will.
That's exactly right.
Outside of following the regulatory guidelines.
Knowing what you're doing.
Knowing what you're doing. That's top tier. And also owning the moment that you walk into that facility. You have to own that moment.
That's right.
It's very important, because then the DER or that on-site manager has full confidence that when you come back on site again, you'll be able to perform and also handle every single one of their drug tests carefully.
They have to have confidence in who they're turning that important part of their business over, which is drug and alcohol testing.
Absolutely.
A lot of times people don't realize that that's a legal process. That's why we call it a forensic chain of custody form or a federal chain of custody form. That is a legal process, particularly on the DOT side, that is regulated.
Absolutely.
And when you turn that over to someone who is going to start administering that and performing those tests, they don't know what they're doing. It's going to get the employer in trouble.
Absolutely.
So let's take a minute. So you started the company.
Yes.
Intra Testing Solutions.
Yes.
And you're not only in Houston, but you told me Louisiana, pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. We go anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime, right?
Anywhere.
And do you do post-accident testing, middle of the night?
Middle of the night, yes. As a matter of fact, while I was on my flight last night, we were getting calls.
Were you really?
Yes, and we answer the call.
That is the thing. I talk in my businesses that answer the phone. If you answer the phone, 50% of the job is done. But there are so many people that won't answer the phone. They act like they start a business, and then they act like the customers are a bother to them.
Absolutely. So, they're a blessing.
They are a blessing. So let's back up for a second.
Sure.
So we know we talk about life, and we talk about the drug testing world, and we know how you started. But I've had a lot of guests on that have had firsthand experiences where illegal drugs and drug use has, I'll call it, infiltrated the family, become part of. We talked on another podcast about listening to mom and dads talk about how slowly their children became addicted to drugs, and they at first said it's not true, which is what a lot of parents say.
Absolutely.
And we know that drugs and illegal drugs, they become part of a child's life, a teenager's life, anyone's life, can destroy a family, can cause heartache for years to come. And in some of my other podcasts, we've talked about the treatment programs and so on, and we won't go there. But let me ask you, since you are an owner of a drug testing business, you go out and you do collections all the time, you see positive results, I'm sure, coming back all the time. Have you ever had anything in your life that you feel comfortable of talking about for a minute or two that brings home the issue of illegal drug use and why drug testing is so important, but really from a personal perspective?
Absolutely. I have quite a few stories. I'm very familiar with substance abuse, Jim, in the family. I've had some family members too pass away and also struggle with mental health issues as a result of substance abuse. People that I love dearly. I grew up, I looked up to, I grew up with. They helped raise me. And it's very hurtful to see a person transition from who they used to be to what the substance has done to them. To them. Yes,
what it's done to them.
What it's done to them. So it was a struggle. It was a struggle, and it's still a struggle, but it helped me to find my purpose.
Well, it brings a dynamic to the business.
And to the why.
And to the why. And, people think sometimes that drug testing is just a business. You go out, collect a specimen, you get a result. But when you have a personal relationship with why you do it, and really when someone's testing positive, it brings it back home to you that this could be someone that is destroying their family, destroying their own lives.
Absolutely.
And it's not just them, but it's destroying their own lives and their families' lives, their kids, and so on. So, because of your personal experience, I'm sure that when you see a positive test come back of a 22-year-old employee, worker, whatever the case may be, your mind starts to think, what is this person doing to themselves?
Absolutely. And what are they jeopardizing as far as the public's concern?
Public safety.
Public safety. That's the number one thing. And I've seen that a lot of times in the past. Going on site, especially in the railroad industry, I've seen that quite a bit. There's engineers and conductors that come to work under the influence. And it's like, oh my God. It just baffles me that they're struggling with addiction and then they show up to work.
Well, the railroad is really what started it. With the Conrail train that went off and killed all those people. And I mean, when you look at drug testing, that's really what started it in the United States.
Absolutely.
Was
up in
railroad.
New York.
That's right, railroad.
Yes, correct. And so for me, I've come across individuals where they'll sit and they'll talk to me. And one particular guy I remember, his wife had surgery. And when she had her surgery, she started taking some pain medication. Well, over time, she became addicted to the pain medication. Well, so did he.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right.
And he was actually in a follow-up program because he tested positive. He was able to keep his job, so the job was giving him a second chance. However, alcohol addiction kicked in. And one particular night, I recall, he literally came into the door to work stumbling.
Oh my goodness gracious! Wow.
Yes. His breath alcohol concentration level was 3 times the legal limit.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And he's operating that heavy piece of equipment down a railway.
It's amazing that people don't understand that the drug testing aspect is not only what you think about people using illegal drugs, but public safety.
Public safety.
Airline pilots, train engineers, so on and so on.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to our next thing that we talked about in another episode was the rescheduling of marijuana.
Right.
You know, that is a big discussion item that's happening. President Trump has signed the executive order.
Yes.
It hasn't happened yet. A lot of people will misunderstand.
They are.
It hasn't happened yet. NDASA, National Drug and Alcohol Screening Association, and members like yourself are really trying to ensure that DOT, for our viewers, the U.S. Department of Transportation, which regulates airline pilots, train engineers, bus drivers, school bus drivers, there's some question of whether, if it goes to a Schedule 3, if DOT can continue to test for it. So leaders like Valerie and the National Drug and Alcohol Screening Association and myself are trying to ensure that there's what's called a safety carve-out, that any legislation that messes with marijuana would ensure that DOT could continue to test for it.
Correct.
Do you, when you're out there, do you see people that might have seen that on TV or heard about it and they think it's already happened?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And a lot of times these employers, they're under the impression that just because that it's okay. They can keep their job. They can still, in their leisure time, they can consume and indulge in marijuana.
Is that because of what they saw President Trump do, or is that even before because they have a medical card or something?
Because they have a medical card, and now it's even more prevalent. It's like, okay, woohoo, like the cover's off. We can utilize and engage into marijuana use.
The whole idea of the medical card, some people call it a voodoo card.
Yes.
But it's not a prescription.
No.
A lot of people are misinformed about that. It's not a prescription.
It's not.
And we've been fighting the issue a long time. If you have a medical card and you're a DOT-regulated employee, you test positive, it doesn't matter.
You don't have a job.
Right, you don't have a job.
Absolutely.
But I think with President Trump doing this rescheduling, where he signed an executive order, that even added more misinformation to the subject. Because we have truck drivers that think because of what they saw on TV, that they can start smoking marijuana. And it hasn't changed anything. If it does change anything, it's going to be a year down the road, and more importantly, we're going to try and make sure there's a safety carve-out so the DOT can always test for marijuana.
Right.
But, because I think you know as well as I do, there's the saying going around now that the marijuana of today is not your father's marijuana from the 70s and 80s.
I can agree with that. From what I've been told.
The potency is so much. And Valerie, it's kind of crazy because they're actually sprinkling fentanyl now in marijuana.
Yes.
And just the smallest amount of fentanyl can kill you.
Yes, it
can. I never understand why drug dealers would want to sprinkle fentanyl in a buyer's marijuana. Because you might kill them and you've lost your customer.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
But there's so much. Well, tell me, in your day-to-day life running this company, what does your day look like? You wake up, you have an on-site. Tell me what your day looks like.
Sometimes I'm answering some of those questions.
Right.
I get a lot of truck drivers calling and they're saying, hey, I've taken this bath oil, the hemp oil, or I've smoked a couple of weeks ago, and could I test positive on a drug test? Possibly.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Well, if your employer calls you for a drug test, you have to go in and take that drug test, and it's a possibility you could lose your job.
Right.
But I do answer some of those questions. Also, I'm scheduling training courses.
Because you do live training.
I do live training, that's correct. And I'm always answering the phone, especially when it comes down to mobile testing. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And what is the service area? I know we say nationwide, but New Orleans or Louisiana, Texas?
Lake Charles. Also, we service a lot of the Port Arthur area.
Is that U.S. Coast Guard or?
United States Coast Guard. Right. We do quite a bit of testing for United States Coast Guard almost every day. And also, we service a lot of railroad employees as well, companies as well. We go as far as 2 to 3 hours out. We go up to Austin. We do, that's in the Texas area.
Right.
Also Dallas, Texas, all the way over to Plainview. That's up top of Texas, all the way to El Paso. wherever there's a need.
And you do it 24 hours.
24 hours.
So you do post-accident 3 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
And you in summer, cold winter, spring,
summer, and fall.
Right.
I have a wide variety of apparel in my closet.
I bet.
Ready for
Ready to
any
go.
situation. Ready to go. And this is what I tell my new collectors. You always be prepared. Always keep your clothes and your shoes at the edge of your bed. So
Right.
you're ready to go. When that phone rings, be ready to answer that call.
Gotcha.
That's what you're signing up for. So day to day, I'm always answering those types of calls. And then also I'm spending time with my daughter. She's in college whenever I can.
Tell me about your daughter.
So my daughter, she's actually studying to become a criminal defense attorney. At Sam Houston.
Every good family needs an attorney in the family.
Absolutely.
My dad always used to want me to be an attorney because his joke was that I've got a lot of people I want to sue for free.
Yes.
That's what that was my dad.
Yes.
That's my dad's line. He used
a
to
lot of people you can sue for free. And so I'm so thrilled that she decided to go down that journey I always tell her, be better than me.
Yeah, well.
You know? And so she surely dove into her education. She's doing phenomenal. She's in her 3rd year of college.
Wow.
So I'm excited. Then after
And then they
4
go
years,
a couple of years after that, right?
yes, to law school.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And then my 2 sons, they're currently working.
Are they?
Blue collar. They're
That's
out
all right.
there working hard.
That's what makes the
and
wheels turn.
That's what makes the wheels turn. But they see what I do every day. And I've tried to recruit them, believe
Have
it
you?
or not. I've tried. And they're like, we
don't wanna
watched
go?
this growing up.
Right.
No, Mom.
Right.
Enough is enough. I don't want to see another urine cup.
Well, I've got 5 kids.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
And 2 of my sons, one's in college and one is in high school, but they both work in the company. They both work in the company, and they're very both interested. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yes.
They keep asking me how much do I make because they think that's what they'll make on day one.
That's absolutely.
And I've explained to them many times that won't happen.
No.
You're starting down at the bottom and you work your way up.
You got to work your way up the corporate ladder,
Yeah, you
right?
do. You got to, but you know how kids are. Yeah. So are your kids local in the Houston area?
Yes, they are. They are all local in the Houston area. And so I'm almost an empty nester. They're like coming in and out of the house for the most part.
They're home?
Yes, they're home.
Good.
And so with that being said, they watch me go every other day, if not every day. I'm running the operations there in Houston, and sometimes I'm running the operations from Louisiana, Lake Charles, New Orleans, sometimes Mississippi. Sometimes Florida, sometimes, not all the time, but we do cover the southeast region of the United States.
Well, good. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was Endesa a little bit, your involvement there. And Valerie and her company have become a reseller of the Accredited Training Academy's courses, which are collector training and DER training and breath alcohol training. Correct. And she also is a promoter and reseller of secure screenings.
Yes.
And secure screenings helps businesses grow that are getting into the drug testing industry, individuals, setting up lab accounts and so on. So she's been one of our #1 advocates out there for our consulting services and secure screenings, and now becoming a part of the Accredited Training Academy. So she is, and you're very quick to get on that social media. And when someone says, I want to start into the drug testing business, she will say, call Secure Screenings, call Accredited Training Academy if you want to be a collector. And we thank you for that very much.
You're welcome.
But let's talk about that just a second. There's a lot of people on social media and Facebook that advertise their training companies in the drug testing industry. And they'll say things like, you can make $2,000 a year. You don't need to be $2,000 a day or $2,000 a month. And you don't need to be trained. You don't need any qualifications. Just call me and pay me a certain amount of money. And it's a ripoff. It is a ripoff. It takes hard work to succeed. I mean, you can listen to what this woman has done with her company. She's up every day. She's out at 3 o'clock in the morning. She's learning more and more about regulations every day, even though you thought you knew everything, just like I do. Well, every day I learn something new.
Absolutely.
And it takes hard work and dedication, and it's not easy. But the rewards are tremendous.
Yes.
When you're an entrepreneur and you put the time in and you put the hard work in. And I get frustrated when I see someone on social media runs an ad or a Reel or a TikTok. I'm not quite up there. My kids tell me that I need to remember my age.
That's okay.
But that's not true. It's not an easy thing to do, is it?
It's not. It is absolutely not.
And you have to be trained properly.
You have to be trained properly. You need guidance along the way. There's a misconception along with those reels that you see. And don't worry, Jim. I'm going to bring you up to par with those reels and TikToks, okay?
You're going to teach me everything I need to know.
Yes, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, okay?
Right.
Give me about 24 hours.
Will keep me up to date of what Taylor Swift is doing and all those kind of things? It will, okay? Because that's the most, and Britney Spears.
Absolutely.
Right, okay, go ahead.
So, I get this question all the time. How soon can I get started? Can I quit my day job?
All right, we'll be right back with Valerie on Beyond the Test and learn more about Intra Testing Solutions in Houston, Texas, and who Valerie is.
Nice.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Test. We have Valerie Lofton with us today from Intra Testing Solutions in Houston, Texas. We're learning a lot about her business, learning a lot about Valerie. And what I was talking about right then was the training is so important to be a qualified drug test collector. And there's all these people out there that are taking people's money. They're not properly training them.
Correct.
They're running scams. I have to tell you, they're running scams. So talking about the importance of training.
It's very important, Jim. Very important, because in the event that you go out and you perform a specimen collection and you do not follow the DOT guidelines, you can find yourself sitting on a witness stand in court.
Absolutely.
Okay? You could be talking to some of the union reps and they're ripping you apart. I've experienced that.
Have you really? Wow.
Yes, I have. And there was no fault of mine because, one, I received proper training, and my mentor, she guided me through the process as well, and I just stuck to the facts at hand and went over all of my procedures, and there were no faults on my end. But back to what you were saying about all of the propaganda that's out here in reference to I can make $2 billion or get into this $8 billion industry, excuse me. You're going to make $2,000 a day, or come with me and let's make $500 a day. One drug test, and you actually can use an alcohol screening device to perform DOT testing. Let's talk about that for a second as well. I'm seeing all of that, and all of that is far from the truth.
It's false.
It's false. It is false, okay? It's very important that a newcomer into this industry or individual that's considering becoming a breath alcohol technician as well as a specimen collector, that they get connected to the right source. Vet your trainers. That's very important. And as you can see, I'm an advocate for vetting your trainers. Getting into the network of experienced professionals. I cannot stress that enough. Getting under proper leadership and mentorship.
Mentorship is
Mentorship. It's very important. And so Secure Screenings offer that. I tell every single person that calls my line and say, do you offer mentorship? If I had a penny for that, every question of do you offer mentorship, I will be a multimillionaire, okay? I will be a multimillionaire. And my simple answer to that is no. Okay? However, I do have a resource for you. And Secure Screenings is phenomenal when it comes to mentorship. And also in your mentorship, you're getting all of the proper training.
You got training programs and so on.
Experienced professionals. You can't go wrong. This is not someone that just started overnight, or this isn't someone that just started yesterday and came into the industry and took the training and then actually just went out there and say, hey, I can train. Let me train you. No. It's quality training. It's quality mentorship. So yes, I advocate to every new person coming into the industry, Secure Screenings. If you want mentorship, contact Secure Screenings. If you want proper training, contact Secure Screenings. You can't go wrong. It's a win-win situation.
Well, you know, we had, I think I told you, we had earlier this week, Secure Screenings had a webinar for all of our clients nationwide that are getting in the drug testing business or have been in the drug testing business. And the title of the webinar was, You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. And the one thing that I noticed, and I'm very pleased that they asked the questions, but many of the questions were the most basic. And that indicates to me that even people that have been doing it a little bit, they need help.
They need help.
What do I do if the donor refuses? There's so many questions that collectors that want to learn and want to do it properly ask.
Correct.
And we had a good hour and 15-minute webinar that they asked all these questions. What do I do with the donors? What do I do if the temperature's not right? And these are people out actually doing the test, and they don't know exactly those answers. But I want to emphasize there's nothing wrong with that. They at least sought the answers to those questions.
Right.
A lot of people won't.
Absolutely.
So talk to me for a minute about Endesa. So you became involved in the National Drug and Alcohol Screening Association, which I was the chairman of.
Yes.
And was one of the founders and organizers of it, along with some others. And Joe McGuire, our executive director. And so I believe she was on just a recent podcast, too. So tell me what you get out of being a member of Endesa.
I get so much out of being a member of Endesa. One, I'm able to network with all of my colleagues within the industry if I'm ever stuck in a collection situation, because as you know, we can get into the routine of doing collections, and all situations are not the same. No collection is ever the same.
Yeah, that's right.
No collection is ever the same. So if I find myself in a situation, I have a support team. I have support that I can go to, and I can call Jim and say, hey, Jim, I have a question. Hey, Joe, I have a question. This situation arose. How do you handle that? Or I'm dealing with a DER and this situation is going haywire.
Right.
What would you do? I have confident, tenured professionals by my side standing with me while I'm handling collections. So it's very important that, to me, being a part of Endesa is bigger than just a membership. It's support, it's resources, educational resources. As a collector, it's important to know every aspect of the drug testing process. It's more than just specimen collections. It's more than just the DER's role. Let's talk about MRO assisting.
Right.
That's
the role the MRO plays.
The role that the MRO plays.
And when you go to Endesa conferences, which I know you've been to all of them, you meet MROs.
You do.
You meet
Absolutely.
you meet MROs. You meet representatives of the Department of Transportation.
Yes.
And along with networking, you're actually meeting the decision makers that regulate your industry, that play an important role.
Absolutely.
And you've been to almost every conference.
Every conference.
And you're there and you're networking. And this is one thing about people that operate a business in the drug testing industry I run into, and I say, are you a member of Endesa, or are you a member of any industry association, or are you a member of your Chamber of Commerce? And they'll say no. And sometimes they'll say it like they don't need to be. And they're wrong. They do need to be. But you know what I always say? Those are the same people, Valerie, that are asking why they're not successful.
Absolutely.
Those are the same people that are asking, why is my drug testing business not growing? And you'll say, well, do you go to any conferences? Have you joined your Chamber of Commerce?
Correct.
And they'll say, no. And sometimes why do I need to? Why would I pay $300, whatever it is, to network with industry leaders?
Right.
And that's so important. But they're the same people that are mad at somebody. It's not themselves, but they're mad at somebody else for not being successful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you've been to every conference.
Yes.
And are you going to be in California?
I will be in Anaheim, California.
Will you be in Anaheim, California?
And I want to say this. Being in the room with the decision makers, being in the room with all of the parties and participants as well as educators that are in the industry, it would enhance your business so much. It's very vital. Credibility. That's one. And also it helps you to gain more knowledge on the industry, what it is that you're actually doing.
That's
and
right.
You can educate your employer.
That's exactly right.
And that goes hand in hand with sales.
That's exactly right.
It goes hand in hand with customer service.
That's exactly right.
You're not just dropping the ball.
That's right.
So it's very important that every newcomer in the industry join Endesa.
That's right.
Get in the room with the decision makers Get in the room with all of the professional, tenured professionals that are in the industry that can make a difference in your business and in your career.
That's right.
That's what I did.
And that's what you did,
Yes.
and you're successful.
Yes.
Because you knew those things. You know, you might not have known them at the beginning, but you learned them quickly.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and when people were suggesting you become part of Endesa or you took this additional training and so on, you were smart enough to know if I want to advance and move the ball down the field to build my business, I need to do these things.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And
it's important.
I want to thank you, number one, for supporting Endesa.
Thank you.
You're always a smile when you walk into a room. You got a great personality.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased that you're becoming a reseller of the accredited training academies programs and secure screens, promoting secure screens. But most importantly, I want to thank you as the past chairman of Endesa, that you recognize what it takes to be a credible professional in the drug testing industry.
Absolutely.
And you're willing to continue to learn. You don't know it all. I don't know it all. We don't know what rescheduling of marijuana is going to do exactly to our industry. We don't know what new regulations are coming down the pike. We don't know what DOT oral fluid is going to look like when it comes out.
Absolutely.
You know, so I want to thank you because you truly are an asset to the drug testing industry, and you're what a person in the industry should look like. And more importantly, you get up every day and go to work.
Absolutely.
And you answer the phone.
Absolutely.
You answer the phone. So that's the key if you're running any type of business.
That's right.
Answer the phone, and if they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, don't complain about them. Thank them.
Thank them.
Didn't you say it was a blessing?
It's a blessing.
The clients are a blessing.
Absolutely.
They're not a hassle.
Absolutely.
Well, Valerie, we have, I get teased all the time.
Okay.
Because I love Elvis Presley. My wife and I renewed our vows at Graceland a few years ago. I've always liked him since I was a little kid. And I'm a Star Trek fan, the original Star Trek, the really only Star Trek, which is the original.
Right.
So I always ask a couple questions.
All right.
All right. And you see we have Captain Kirk here.
Yes.
And this is actually a bobblehead of me that my wife gave me. I don't look anything like that. I actually think I'm better looking than that. But so the first question is, can you tell me any song that Elvis Presley ever did?
I can sing the chorus.
All right, we'll sing the chorus.
I can't help
There you go.
falling in love with you.
Oh my goodness, that is perfect. You know, we've never had that. I don't recall any of my other guests singing on this show, but and I have to tell you a funny story about that real quick. That is one of my favorite songs.
Really?
And can't help falling in love. And every one of my kids, when they were born, and the nurse hands them to the doctor, or the doctor hands the baby to Lisa, then they hand them to the dad. And every time that my child was handed to me, I walked around the room and sang that song to them right after they were born. And anytime it comes on the radio and we're anywhere, I say to Austin, who's now 19, or Aiden, or Hope, or even Amber and Hunter, I'll say, do you know what that song means? And they'll go, oh God, Dad, are you going to tell people you sang it when we were born? I don't think they remember it, I'm sure.
That's okay.
All right, here's the second question.
They'll appreciate
so you did great.
it later.
And I'm going to have to tell you, if you don't know the second question, that's okay, because you sang an Elvis song on this episode of Beyond the Test.
So I have grace.
You do. You have a pass. But let's see. Can you tell me what was the person name that had the pointed ears on the original Star Trek? Started with an S.
Starts with an S.
He had pointed ears.
Oh.
All right. Well, here's what we'll do. Are you stumped? Are you
Yes.
stumped? Okay.
I'm stumped.
Well, it was Spock. I think everyone knows it was Spock. And as we, first of all, I want to thank you for being on the show today. It was great. It was entertaining. We learned about life. We had some entertainment. We definitely had some entertainment today because we've never had anyone sing that beautifully an Elvis song unless it was me in a jumpsuit.
Right.
I just want to. But
you're the karaoke king.
I am the karaoke
You're the karaoke king.
So we've had entertainment, we've had life, and we've talked about drug testing. So Valerie, I want to thank you for being on here today. We learned a lot about your business. If you need on-site testing in Texas, Louisiana, pretty much much anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, especially Hawaii, right? No,
Hawaii.
Not Hawaii.
Not
okay.
Hawaii.
You don't want to go to Hawaii.
No.
Okay, but anywhere you need in Texas or any of those close states,
Yes.
give Valerie a call at Intra Testing Solutions. What's the telephone number there?
281-984-4282, and we come to you.
And we come to you. Well, as I always end the Beyond the Test with a phrase from Star Trek and that Mr. Spock used to say, and that is, live long and prosper. And I will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Test.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.